Hey guys, I'm going to be talking briefly-ish about airswims in Iconoclasts, just kind of how they work and what we use them for. So the basic way that they work is that when you transition from right to left while swimming, the game kind of pushes your character to the left just a little bit. And what we do with that is if we hold right as we enter the transition, it kind of puts us onto the wrong screen as we transition. And then the game knows this, so it pushes us back out. But it pushes us back out in the wrong place. And that's how we get the air swim, because it puts us from an area where there was water to an area where there isn't water. So I'll show that off now, which is pretty quick. So you see, I go in, hold right, and now it's put me up here, which is the screen above where we were. And that's pretty much the basis of it. Not all of them are as easy as this one. Most of them you generally have to hold some form of direction, just to kind of keep you out of bounds, or, well, in bounds, but out of bounds. You'll get what I mean as you start experimenting with it. The next thing to talk about is breath. You'll notice that it's sort of ticking away. The way we can refill that is by reading one of these little signs. It'll also refill any cutscene you hit will refill. Any chests that you open and any NPCs you speak to are all ways to replenish that. These are these are frame perfect, not frame perfect, pixel perfect. Unfortunately, you'll see it's you can be near it and it won't activate. You have to be at the exact right height. What I use to kind of line that up is the top pixels of the little bubbles around the breath meter. I line it up with the top pixels of the floor, and that generally gets it for me. It's just something to consider when trying to read these signs while swimming. Another thing that you should probably do is, instead of just kind of reading them like this, what you can do is swim quickly into them, and then kind of hit them on the opposite end. So, like that. And then that'll just get you a bit of extra distance. The only reason we do that is just so we have more time with the swim. The next thing to consider is there's two states while you're swimming, grounded and ungrounded. And basically that's a check that the game uses mainly during cutscenes, just to check if you're on the ground or not, because if you go into it while airborne, it'll just increase gravity to put you on the ground, and then it can start the cutscene. Unfortunately, because we're swimming, if we go in the ungrounded state, the gravity won't affect us, so the game will just soft lock, because the game can never put us on the ground to start the cutscene, and you can't skip it or anything to that effect. So that's why we need to keep an eye on the game state, really. There's a couple of ways to get grounded. The main one is coming off a ladder. But not just kind of off it like that. That would put us ungrounded. You need to actually kind of go either off the top or off the bottom of the ladder. So that's grounded, and that's ungrounded, and that's grounded. Again, the main reason that works is just because the game thinks you've come off a ladder, so you must be on the ground. Now there is actually uses for ungrounded. Basically, if you hit a transition while ungrounded, it can kind of warp you in some pretty weird places, but some of these are pretty useful. The main ones being in Izaluga and Impact Skip. They save quite a bit of time and let us get areas that we wouldn't normally be able to access out of bounds. So I'll quickly show that off. So, see, now I'm on the ladder. If I hit space to jump off, the game knows I've jumped off a ladder, so it knows I'm ungrounded. And because we never hit the floor, then we don't get grounded. So what we used to do with this is we'd go up here, and you can see that that has... What is that? Okay. There we go. You can see that it's put us above the room that we're in currently. I can't go left or a soft lock, but basically through that little kind of hallway underneath, that's the room that we were in. So now I can go over here and you can see on the map there's big chunks missing where I should have gone through to get here. So that's the main use for ungrounded. Just to kind of get some warps. But again, the main thing to note is that you have to get grounded again before you hit a cutscene. Otherwise, that's run over. You have to hard quit out of the game and go back in. So now I'll show off the first airswim I'll actually do in the run. This is in the Shard Wastelands. So what you do first is you go get the bombs, and then you come back here. Another kind of state as such, it's not one that's tracked by the game, but it's one we use. It's something called misalignment. And what that means is that our character hitbox gets kind of out of sync with the level hitbox. And what that means is we can get underneath the level, and that lets us go out of bounds. I'm not going to be able to show that off very well here, but I can show you how to get it. There's a couple of ways. One is dodging into water, but obviously we don't have dodge yet, so we can't do that till Izaluga. But the way we get it here is you'll notice that I'm stood on the ground but in the water. So if I hold crouch and just walk into the water, now I've got misalignment. Don't know why that works, but it does. It's the only time we kind of get it that way. But that's how you get it here. So now I kind of show off what's mechanics. I talked about it briefly in Dark Cave, that it takes us to the wrong screen, but you can't really see it. But you can see it pretty well here. So you'll notice if I go left here, that's what this screen looks like. I'll see if... There we go. So I'll show off, so you can see that, that's the next screen along. And this is the screen that we're meant to hit. So you see that if you go left, you hit this screen. Now, if I go left and hold right, you can see just very briefly that the screen, the following screen, is where it takes us. So that's what we use to get out of bounds. Because obviously it doesn't want us to be in that screen, so it tries to push us back. But it pushes us back on kind of the same side of the screen that we were on. So it's going to push us to the right hand side of the screen. So I'll try and demonstrate that. I mentioned before about... First time, nice. I mentioned before about how sometimes you have to hold directions. So for this one, you have to hold up. And that will kind of keep you in bounds. Let's see if I can show off misalignment. I died. No, I can't. But yeah, I'll shut it off one more time. So go down, go in. I get it, obviously. It can be these horizontal warps are pretty tricky. Sometimes you can get them first time, sometimes you'll spend forever on them. That wasn't too bad. So that's the Shard Wastelands Airswim. Like I say, just watch either mine or Riddler's video on where to go after that. I'm not going to go too in depth into that now. So this is the other one you'll use. This is in Izaluga. So this is another vertical airswim. So you can see if I go in, you can see that I'm above where I started. The vertical ones are a lot easier than the horizontal ones. I'm not 100% sure why, but they just are. So just to kind of add on to the point that I made in Dark Cave, with this airswim, if I was just to hold left and then right, like in Dark Cave, it puts me out here, which is no good. So for this one, you do have to hold direction. So for this one, it's left, right, and down. And that'll put you here. And obviously you'd go get your key or whatever. and then follow the rest of the route. And that's basically everything. I probably missed something important, but just kind of message the Discord if there's anything else you want explaining. Thanks for watching.